I almost feel like the opposite could happen.
It could take the pressure off.
Exactly.
And then
you
just
have
go,
nothing to lose.
Let's ruin the Packers'
You're
year. I wasn't
free.
going to call this play on 3rd and 7.
Yeah.
But now, it, we're not going to be playing next week anyways. Let's go for it. Boom. What up, everybody? Week 18. Yes, playoff edition. The Lions are not in the playoffs, but we're going to start off the show talking about them. Look at Mr. Captain Detroit over here, Ahmed Fareed. He's got his hoodie on. It's a cool hoodie. I like it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice. It really is. Goes well with our colors and Chris Sims Unbuttoned.
Actually.
That was fun last night. And we had the what? That did kind of happen last night. Would they have called a 3rd and 18 hook and ladder?
I know.
Right? That was
maybe. They've done a lot of things like that all year.
It's hard to say that with the Lions. They're a little crazy, but that was fun.
I know you didn't listen to me because you picked the Packers to win, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people did. I was surprised that America picked Detroit.
Yeah, I was too.
America's pick, 55%. Way to go, America.
Way to go, America. They know what's going on.
That was awesome. That was our Super Bowl. Detroit Lions. I'm proudly wearing my Detroit Lions. I've never done this on the pod.
No, you
right?
haven't.
And I've always been professional.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I've been a journalist.
For the most part.
A host journalist.
Right.
Impartial.
Yes. Right.
I hate the Bears. I've let that be known. My love of the Detroit Lions. But outside of that, I've been professional.
Yeah.
But I was watching that game. It took a while to get over watching Seattle win in overtime.
Yeah,
that was like 20 hard minutes.
That hurt.
It was like, okay,
I felt
over.
for you guys then too. Even though I like Seattle and their story, there was a part of me a little bit. It was like, I wouldn't mind seeing them lose just so our game had a little more drama.
Yeah.
But man, you guys are fun to watch. And that's got to feel like good for you going into 2023 and the jump off. And
100%.
We're like right around the corner from being legit here.
So I was like with the Detroit Lions, I was like there are going to be two teams that feel the best at the end of the year, I think. I think it's going to be the Super Bowl winner, and I think it's going to be the Detroit Lions. I legitimately think that.
I hear you.
You lose in the Super Bowl, you're like, it was so close.
Right.
You lose in the championship game, you're like, that sucks.
It's a heartbreaker.
It's a heartbreaker.
Right.
Detroit Lions, they won their last game. They sent Aaron Rodgers to retirement.
Well, we'll see. He might have. But
yeah.
Damn. I mean, yes. I talked a little bit on like our Peacock postgame show last night to just go, all right, offensively, you need nothing. Like, you're good.
Yep.
Right? Maybe they dabble with like a mid-round quarterback or something, or take a flyer on a guy that, hey, he's got something that's special and we can groom him behind Goff for a few years. It's all about the defense now. It's just getting another pass rusher, another linebacker, another corner, But, damn, you're going to have money to spend. You got the Rams pick from the draft. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to have plenty of things to make it happen here. That's what's exciting for the Lions.
It's almost so good that it's almost like one of those things where you're like, wait,
where's
the rug
the Lions
pull?
mess this up
Where's
before?
the rug pull going to happen here? So we're going to get into that game to begin with.
Cool.
We're also going to get into every game because that is our promise. Every game, our promise.
Every one of these shitty games from this week.
Even the two, there's something to talk about in all of them, even the ones that didn't matter, which turned out to matter for the number one overall pick in the draft. So we'll talk about that, everything. Damn okay. Give me the headlines, wild card preview. So we got a jam-packed pod. And for the first time, we will begin the pod with Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. Have I said how much we enjoy Hyundai, having them be part of the pod?
You have. Well, you drive one, so I know that you're...
Hyundai Santa Fe.
Yeah, okay. So you're all in.
Reliable.
You're giving them money.
We did.
Yeah,
no,
we did.
No longer.
You've already
right?
done. You're done. You paid your debt there.
But it's been such a good car.
Right.
I would consider getting another one.
Okay.
So
look at you.
Hyundai,
playing
we're
with the
sending those
sponsors
positive vibes out your way.
What a butt kisser this guy is.
So this is Give Me the Headlines. So what we do here is we're in charge of a newspaper.
Yeah.
And we still print.
Right.
We're still in maybe digital copies.
Right. Why are you explaining this like nobody's ever heard this before?
I don't know. So we'll go with our Sunday night football game. The Lions defeat the Packers 20-16.
You give me the headline, Mr. Lions.
This
fan.
is mine.
It is. Don't give me some bullcrap. Restore the roar or we bite kneecaps off. It's already been used this year. Okay.
I like restore the roar.
Okay. What do you got there, Johnny Creativity?
Could be something with Campbell. Campbell. But I'm gonna just go with
right.
Gone smoking. Not gone fishing, because we sent the Packers. They're gone smoking. We smoked them,
right?
And now Aaron Rodgers can go smoking into the pasture, whatever he wants to do.
Right.
We'll get into Aaron Rodgers gone smoking. Is that good enough for you?
That's good. I mean, you've had better.
I know.
I have a feeling that are you going to lay them to rest later too? They probably we'll see. So
yes.
We're going to celebrate them at the start and then celebrate their death later on in the show.
Exactly. Yes. They have been eliminated. So that stung, as we just mentioned. But I'll tell you what, I have so much to say about the Lions because I don't know that I've had a team that I felt this good about for all the reasons you mentioned, how close they are and what they need on defense, and the offense is already there. But can I this is like an appreciation tweet to Dan Campbell.
Sure.
I threw out there last night because he's a strong, confident coach.
Yep.
Who obviously relates to his players very well.
Definitely.
And they believe in him.
Right.
And he also has kind of an aggressive, risk-taking style. Of all the coaches, that's a total package, right? Maybe not the X's and O's.
Right. The X's and O's are not bad here.
Exactly.
The defense has got a few little issues, but I think it's more talent than necessarily scheme. But offensively, I mean, come on. It's one of the best put-together offenses in football. And I'm not even talking about the players, just the way the game is called. And I think Dan Campbell, an ex-tight end, and I think the relationship with him and Ben Johnson, we saw Dan Campbell take over play calling last year. I think he's very much, as far as the influence of this offense, involved in that. Yeah. So there is positives to that. And, I mean, yes, and I think the biggest thing is like what you said. He's turned around their frame of thinking there to winning frame of mind. And then, within that, he is a guy that, as we've said many times this year, we would go play for right now and be like, okay, let's do it. Let's do it for Dan Campbell. And there is something to be said about that, and there's great value in that.
And to keep that team motivated after just, minutes earlier they had seen Seattle win that game.
Right.
And then I tweeted out because I had to regroup myself.
Ooh.
And so I tweeted out this picture. I've been using some AI software to generate some pictures now.
That's pretty cool.
Look at that. I just typed in Aaron Rodgers made of cheese.
Aaron Rodgers made of cheese.
And it gave me that picture.
Wow,
and so I go, regroup, pick up the pieces, beat this cheesehead, which is what you heard Melissa Stark talk to Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, what's your motivation? How are you feeling? He's like, we don't want them to go.
Yeah.
We don't want the Green Bay Packers to go. And like I mentioned.
We're not going, but they're not going either.
Exactly. And like I mentioned last week, I do feel like they played a little maybe freer, even freer than they normally do without that pressure with the hook and ladder.
I think there is something to that,
and all that.
Yeah,
and the Packers were tight. You could tell that too.
Definitely, it seemed like the pressure got back on them a little bit. The Lions have a way of being free no matter what, and I think that is because of your coach. But yes, then just with the added, okay, we're not going to the playoffs, you could be a little bit more free. There's something to that, definitely. And again, I think there's a lot. Then you add in, the motivation just to kick the Packers out of the playoffs. But then I think the motivation of some of the things we heard out of the Lions locker room this week from Deshaun Elliott and things like that. And I felt like there was a true disrespect with the way Aaron Rodgers talked about them after the year.
Yeah, he said after their loss,
after their
first
loss, in Week 9. Right?
Yeah, he goes to lose to a team like that.
Right? Yeah, right. That's those are some harsh words. Guys are going to remember that. And of course, they turned it around, kind of right there and then. And it just is. It's cool to see a team, come out of nowhere. Not that we want to pass the torch to them, but I think we look at them and go, wait, we're going to pass the torch to them to go. It looks like they're going to be a major player in the NFC. And then the Packers, of course, are in limbo a little bit. And I think that's what's interesting about that game last night too. First off, the pressure, the situation, whatever. There's a few things we could talk about with Green Bay where I just go, mistakes were made. I did not, me, going for it on fourth down early in the game. Your defense has been playing good lately, right? You're just going to give them the ball right there in field goal position. You're not the greatest offense in the world to just say, oh, yeah, 4th and 1 and 4th and 2, we can make it. We're the Chiefs, we're the Bills, whatever.
Yeah.
I did not love that. And then, of course, some of the mistakes that were made as far as the fumble. We had a missed field goal. Green Bay had some opportunities, is what I'm saying, to put extra pressure on Detroit.
Yeah.
But they kind of buckled under the pressure, did not take advantage of opportunities. Yeah, and as the game went on, it just seemed like, Detroit was letting it fly a little bit more than Green Bay was.
Quay Walker ejected after he pushed the trainer.
Yeah.
Which was second time he's been ejected. It was weird.
It was weird. Here's one thing I'll say for him just in his defense.
Sure.
It's a Georgia guy. He has crossover. He was trying to get over there to like see how a friend of his was doing, I think. I'm not condoning ever putting your hands on there.
Yeah.
But I think he was a little bit like checking on his friend, and then the trainer came and kind of gave him the elbow and pushed away, and he was probably like, hey, get your hands off me. But you can't do that. But he's a young kid, and he'll learn from that. I don't think he's a bad guy.
We saw Kirby Joseph, the third pick of Aaron Rodgers this year,
Gosh.
the DB. This is a good draft for the Lions, too, because you got Jamison Williams, who made that big play. That he played very sparingly down the stretch.
Yeah, they're still bringing him along, and that was smart.
The explosiveness.
You see it.
Aiden Hutchinson, Joseph, their tight end, James Mitchell, James Houston. That's a good draft class for the Lions. Brad Holmes did a good job.
He did a really good job
with Detroit there. One play that was so interesting to me was you saw at the end of the game, too, where the Packers jumped off. It was a short yardage situation. What was it, 2nd and 1 or whatever?
It was a 2nd and 1 before the 2-minute warning. They're going to try to pull, let's jump off sides and get a free timeout where the clock will stop. They'll accept it.
Yes.
And now it's first down again. Instead of them being able to get a first down and our timeouts not matching up quite way with downs and the 2-minute warning, they tried to do the old Mike Vrabel there.
Yeah.
But Dan Campbell went, no.
Yeah.
We'll decline that shit, keep the clock running. We'll take 2nd and 1 again, which was very smart.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever seen a team actually decline that penalty
I don't know if
before.
I have either. You're right. That's a new one for sure. But there was, again, I think they're a team that's got a lot of confidence going into the offseason. You said it. There's weapons to talk about. They got money and draft picks to play with. And then on the other side, you got Green Bay as a team where you go, I don't know what's going to happen because of Aaron Rodgers. I don't know where that stands. I think he'll be back. I do. In my heart of hearts.
You do?
I do. I think.
So what's his whole song and dance? Is he using that for leverage? Does he really not know what the future holds?
I think he just takes it slow. I don't think he I think he literally doesn't know. He kind of just wants to, get away for a little bit and see how he feels after a month. And does he still have that burn, that fire, whatever else? I don't think he's going to go somewhere else. I don't. He enjoys being the king of the castle too much. And he's got everything laid out the way he wants there in Green Bay, and he has all the power. So I just don't envision him going somewhere else like a Raiders or something like that. Unless they both decide, hey, you know what, let's go our separate ways, right? But his money and his contract thing, that's going to be an issue in this whole thing here. But, yeah, I guess if he comes back, it's going to be with Green Bay, and I do think he will come back. It's still a good football team. They need some more difference makers on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to have to re-sign Rashawn Gary probably to a good contract. But another year with Watson, Romeo Doubs, there's still some pieces. That offensive line with healthy is still good to where I would think the grass is not greener anywhere else. My big thing with Aaron Rodgers is he just got to change his approach a little bit. He's got to change his approach, the way he plays the game, like you saw last night. First off, some throws and decisions, you just go, what? I mean, got lucky with another interception. There was a penalty on the play. Left a touchdown on the board up the right sideline. Remember, I think that was actually the play before the interception he threw.
Sure, yeah.
Right? He had Aaron Jones up the sideline. It's a touchdown. He underthrew it by 10 or 15 yards. Did not throw the ball well this year. Not to Aaron Rodgers standards. Did not make good decisions. Was not aggressive enough by any stretch of the imagination. Again, this throw for 74% and protect the ball, that shit is over. It's over in the NFL. You got to make plays. You're going to have turnovers no matter what, even if you play it close to the vest.
Yeah.
So you got to make some plays, and I think that's where he dropped the ball, they dropped the ball, and he's got to be there for OTAs this year. You got to be there through the thick and thin with the team. I think that's very important.
I think that was a good point you made, too, because it's like these rookie wide receivers have to earn his trust and will take a while. Well, if it's going to take a while, maybe you should start sooner.
Exactly. the fabric and the DNA of a football team gets laid down in the spring. I know it's not the most important part, and I know you don't have to be there every day, but there is something said to being there, a majority of the time, especially when you're the quarterback and especially when you're the highest paid player on the football team. You know how it works, right? If you saw Mike Tirico in the building every day working, doing this stuff, you'd go, damn, okay, I guess that's what I need to do a little bit to pick my game up, right? Damn, that's Mike Tirico. He's running NBC Sports, right? Well, that's what a quarterback does.
Are you saying Mike Tirico's at a level higher than
just
me?
A little bit level.
Implying?
He does not do. Yes, he does. He's a little. He does better headlines, honestly. So he's just a little higher than you.
Yeah, no,
but that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That permeates through a football team when the best player is your hardest worker. and then he's also there having fun. And usually, like a guy like Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow, they're great guys to where they make it fun for everybody to be there at work anyways. They have an infectious personality with their drive and their love for the game and all that. And that's, what you need to do. Tom Brady learned that lesson. He learned it earlier in his career. He went through a stint like 2009, 2010, where he was like, I'll see you during the season. I'm going to California. I'm doing all that. And then I think he started to realize, wait, I'm not playing as good a football as I can play. There's some issues here and whatever else. And he kind of readjusted his game that way. I would like to see Rodgers back in the building during the spring.
And maybe he doesn't want to do that. And maybe that's why he's going to ride off into the sunset.
Well, then you're going to get criticized, and you're going to give us underwhelming performances in Week 18 if you don't want to do that.
I could talk about this game forever. But Pete tells me that we have to move on because other games did happen in the NFL. And one game happened out west that impacted the Lions' chances at the playoffs. Congratulations to the Seahawks. You are in the postseason. No one saw this coming in the beginning of the year. Maybe you did a little bit because you said that Geno Smith was going to be pretty good, and he was more than pretty good for them. They beat the Rams in overtime. I've lost my duties as headline writer. It's back to you. What's your headline for this one?
He didn't write back, baby. He didn't write back. They wrote him off, and he didn't write back. I feel like this might be the last time this year we'll be able to use that, so we got to use that.
Use it one more time.
He
Geno
coined
Smith.
it. Yeah, he coined the phrase, right?
People try to write me off. I didn't write back.
I didn't write back. He said it week 1, and here he is. He's still not writing back, and he's saying, kiss my butt. Look at me. I'm in the playoffs, and I had one of the best seasons in the NFL at the quarterback position. It wasn't easy yesterday. It was not easy, right, Ahmed? I mean, I don't know how much you saw a pretty good amount because you were on the edge of your seat here.
Yeah.
That's still a good Rams defense.
Jalen Ramsey, credit to him. He was flying all around the field.
Holy crap, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Jalen Ramsey, what a day. The 2 interceptions. I think he was the guy that jumped off the edge to make the missed field goal at the end of regulation that bonked off the upright there. But that was a tough football game. And, I mean, third downs, look at that. 1 for 11. Kenneth Walker had a few plays. They couldn't get it going in the past game. They really couldn't. But they toughed it out, made the plays when they needed to, and they squeaked in the playoffs, and I'm happy for them.
Geno Smith, here it is, set the Seahawks franchise record for completions, pass attempts, completion percentage, and passing yards.
That's amazing. It's truly. It's you can't write some of this stuff sometimes and how it all unfolds, but it's kind of its own little Hollywood script right there in Geno Smith, and I'm sure Pete Carroll loves that aspect that he can say Geno Smith one-upped Russell Wilson a little bit in some of these categories.
So can they make a run? So they got to go to the 49ers. Of course, we're going to get, as the week goes on, we'll get into more of these matchups. We're not going to do it a bunch on this one.
They're dangerous.
What surprised me, though, is that like late in the game, they were down 3, final 2 minutes. They had the first and goal from the 2, had 3 straight Kenneth Walker runs.
I know.
They couldn't get it in there.
Right.
And so
that's the problem with their team right there.
That's an issue.
Well, it's the offensive line, right? How many? Think about some of the bigger games they've played this year against the better defenses. We just have gone. I don't know if they can really run the ball. He might make some crazy, freaky runs, right? Or I don't know if they can really protect, and that's what would scare me. Like as we see in the 49ers game, both games, he never had enough time to let Lockett and Metcalf get down the field to make some big plays. So that'll be the big question here, is can they just block well enough to let some of their playmakers have the opportunity, right? And that to me is a big question. I kind of edge on the side of no, especially against the elite teams. They might be able to get away with some of the other teams in the playoffs, but like 49ers, Eagles, I'm not really sure about that. But again, yesterday, look at the stat line a little bit. 29 for 114 for Kenneth Walker. It's not necessarily a great run-stopping defense by the Rams football team.
Yeah.
It's 3.9 yards per carry, and one of his carries was 20 yards. I mean, there was a ton of carries that were no yards, -2, -3. Oh, he rips off and breaks 7 ankles and then gets around the edge for an 8-yard gain. So it's a little bit of an issue with their team, and it's an issue on the other side of the ball. I think you can kind of go there as well, like you saw. I mean, the Rams, they smashed it up the middle with Cam Akers kind of consistently throughout the football game, right? And that would scare me against the 49ers as well.
The Rams lost 12 games a year after winning the Super Bowl, most losses ever by a defending Super Bowl champion. They already had that 11 losses, so they added one more to that. And now Sean McVay, it's rumors that he doesn't know what he wants to do.
The rumors are real. I mean, I think there's some real aspect to he's not sure what he's going to do. I do. I hear from too many people in the know in the NFL that this is a real thing, and he is contemplating, and he doesn't want to be a part of a rebuild. Which is I think that's really the biggest thing here. So I don't know where this is all going to go, but TV, another head coaching job. It just seems like him back with the Rams is definitely on the fence right now, as the way it stands from when you talk to people around the NFL.
Sounds like burnout for him. Because he doesn't delegate. I think I was reading somewhere where he likes to do it kind of all himself.
He does.
Have his fingerprints on everything.
Right. He's whiz kid. I could totally see him being burnt out. He lives it. It's 24/7. 7 days a week. He could be. I could see him being that guy. Like we saw maybe a Dick Vermeil. We've seen other coaches do it. Yeah. Step away for a few years, come back, re-energize, have a new project, go at it. But we'll see. We know he'd be great on TV. He's a great football coach. I don't think it would necessarily be all that crazy hard. It's not as hard to rebuild a football team as we've seen here. I know they don't have draft picks and stuff like that, but they're going to have some decisions to make altogether, the Rams, in the offseason, as far as some contracts, where guys are at in their career, the Matthew Stafford situation.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things that are very interesting about the Rams when you dig in, so we'll see. But I'm happy for the Seattle Seahawks to get back to that. That's the most important thing here, and they're going to have a special football game to beat the 49ers on Saturday.
And that was Give Me the Headlines, presented by Hyundai. Have I mentioned how much I appreciate my Hyundai Santa Fe?
You definitely have.
I trust it to protect my children in the back seat there, too.
Right.
I just want to make sure I made that clear.
You got it. You got to think about that. Yeah, you got a Lions bumper sticker.
I do not. No, I do not have a Lions.
Step your game up.
I do have to do that. Yeah, I got to restore the roar. You're right. On the back of my Hyundai Santa Fe.
Stop that damn restore the roar.
Let's go over to the AFC now.
Yeah.
Playoff wins for some teams here. The New England Patriots had a chance to get into the postseason. All they had to do was beat the Buffalo Bills in a magical day at Orchard Park. It was not going to happen from the opening kickoff, basically. And this was so good to see from the beginning. If you were on social media, Damar Hamlin tweeting out that he was watching the game, or this might have been this was on Twitter. From his hospital bed with his family, his parents there by his side doing the heart sign that we saw throughout the NFL, certainly from the Bills in this one. And you've all seen it by now. The opening kickoff, Nyheim Hines goes back 96 yards. The other way, just a magical moment. And let's just start with Josh Allen. Maybe you've seen this, maybe you have not. His words on how that impacted him in the entire team. Here's Josh Allen after the game.
I can't remember a play that touched me like that, I don't think, in my life. So it's probably number one.
How about the second one?
It was just spiritual, and I was going around and I was going around my team and saying, God's real. Like, you can't draw that one up, write that one up any better. And I was just told by Kevin Curran, it's been 3 years and 3 months. Since the last kickoff return, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you can just tell what a difficult week. First of all, it was for the Buffalo Bills.
They're a close football team, and like we kind of talked about with like Rodgers and Green Bay, like he's there all the time. Josh Allen, they love him, and he loves them, and it's crazy. It's crazy. It's the most. I can almost get emotional talking about it. Yeah. It's crazy that it was such a special moment, that first kick return, that I was like, I got on the phone and called my family. It's weird. I don't even know why I'm getting emotional about it right now, but it just was special. And like Josh Allen said right there, I think what's cool is, higher power, karma, angels, football gods, whatever you want to say, God, whoever. It just was like one of those where you just, that was powerful. It really was.
Yeah, the power of people who love each other and believe in each other.
Right.
And have been through, thick and thin, literally. And it's a football game that we play, but it puts it instantly in perspective what we're all doing. And then to be able to come together as a team, he's watching from afar. And you mentioned it, like the closeness of this team. I don't think all teams have that necessary, camaraderie between offense and defense, right?
Exactly
it seemed like a lot of the offensive players know who Damar. They're tight.
Right.
It was clear they're tight.
Yeah,
and it's helped.
It has helped. You feel it when I was up there in training camp. I felt it there even when I was there a few years ago. It comes from Sean McDermott too, his ability to blend it all together. It's a little bit of the gift of being the small town team too. Nobody lives that far from each other. It's not like New York here, the New York Giants, where you got one guy that lives in New Jersey and the other guy lives in Manhattan, and they're like, man, we're like 40 miles apart, and if there's traffic, we're like, it's going to take me forever to get there. And it's not like we're going to meet you around the corner at some restaurant. We're in Buffalo. That's a real thing. That adds to the closeness of the football team. Yeah. But that was just like a crazy, crazy special moment. And I think also, too, what you saw is I think there was a part of us that were all scared to go, man, is it insensitive to play football, right? And even think about playing a game. But football players play football. And that's what I think that was a huge part of the healing process yesterday. That was the big thing to me. And I think that's going to get them over the hump here. There are certain stages, but I think that was important for everybody in the NFL to go out and hit each other and be like, okay, wait, I hit that guy in the chest. He's okay. Okay, okay, good. We're back to football. I think that was really important yesterday, and it shows you how important football is to our country and how it brings everybody together in so many different ways. That's where it's special. It is America's sport. And I think that's where it was so gloomy last week, was not only our feel for the player, but we were like, damn, our biggest sport, our favorite sport here in the United States took a real, uppercut. So I think that was awesome yesterday. It really was. And, man, that place was bonkers. And early on in the game, like, the Bills were just playing on pure emotion.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they were playing that good. They were just flying around so fast and crazy that it was just like New England can't match their intensity yet. And then the game settled in, and it became a pretty good game to watch, and good for Buffalo, just pulling out more magical big-time plays, and that's where they're crazy.
I do want to give some credit to the New England Patriots.
We got to.
Because, Mac Jones made some plays, 3 touchdowns, also made some plays for the Buffalo Bills, 3 interceptions in this game. And when you think about their season, they are a playoff team, if not for the lateral against Vegas, or the late fumble from Stevenson against Cincinnati,
right,
where it seemed like it was just a formality where they just needed to.
They had some heartbreakers this year.
They really did, and which is Belichick-like.
Right.
So they made those mistakes, and so those still count. Third losing season in 23 years under Bill Belichick, second in the last 3 seasons. We got a tweet here from Zach Cox-Nesson, our friend over at Nesson.
Yeah.
Will Mac Jones be the Patriots' starting quarterback next season? Belichick, quote, this is not to us. This was just a tweet. Mac has the ability to play quarterback in this league. We all have to work together to be more productive than we were this year. So he might still be our friend, Zach Cox, but this was not directed towards us. This was just an informational tweet out there. There's going to be some changes with New England. I don't think Matt Patricia's back as the offensive coordinator.
No way. I think it's going to be Billy O'Brien from everything I've heard, right?
You think it'll be Mac Jones?
I do. I mean, Mac Jones is really good. Is he ever going to be a top 5 quarterback in football? No. Is Mac Jones, could he be, Kirk Cousins plus, right? His whole career? Definitely, right? And then if you put him a good team, then you can win Super Bowls with that. He's a guy like I've used this with Brady before. He could take advantage of more, right? That's the thing. So he's not a guy you want to go, well, we'll just play simple and he'll make big throws and he'll make plays, right? Like a Burrow or Allen or Mahomes, where they can do that. Mm-hmm. Like we've got on the Bengals before. I go, it's so simple. Yeah. But, they got Jamar Chase and they got a freaky quarterback and they can just do that. He's not that. But if you give him a million checks and, hey, remember this and read this and, hey, when they do this defense, audible to that, and you give him all that stuff, he can really use it and process it. And that's the beauty of him. And I think that's what McDaniels loved about him. It's what Shanahan loved about him. And it's why I think it was a detriment for how it was set up this year because, like Vance Joseph said, the Cardinals defensive coordinator, when they played it seems like a defensive coordinator's calling the conservative, run the ball, basic pass concepts, right? And those are things that, he can do it, but it's not in his wheelhouse. And you're not taking advantage of all that's there to be had with Mac Jones if you play that style of football. But, they could still, I think you saw plenty of good. We saw plenty of explosive plays there, and it was not a great offense. So, yes, Mac Jones will be the starter there. It's crazy when you think about Belichick, 3rd losing season, 2 of the last 3. One of them's the COVID year where things were going real good until Cam Newton got COVID. We can't forget about that. There's a little context to that situation.
Sure.
And then this year, like you said, I think that's the crazy thing this year. The penalties, the up of situational football like we've never seen before, and games where you go, Thanksgiving night, right? They dominated Minnesota. They let up a kick return. They're, turning the ball over, stupid penalties, running into the punter. There's just games like that this year that we're not used to seeing from the New England Patriots.
Yeah, much to be discussed, much content that will be given to us in the offseason about what the New England Patriots do next year after missing the playoffs again. The Bengals are back in the playoffs, as are the Baltimore Ravens. This was a matter of who's going to be hosting whom and who's winning the division. Bengals get the win over the Ravens, who are now on their 17th quarterback, I think, of the season so far, 27-16. The Bengals finished the season on an 8-game winning streak, tying a franchise record. And then afterwards in the locker room, Joe Burrow doing what he does after a victory. We saw it after his LSU days. There he is smoking a cigar. Is that him in the front? That
is. Dude, you don't know what Joe Burrow looks like? Well, is that him in the front, the cool white guy that has a big cigar in his mouth?
He's out of focus. It was like they were trying to just get a shot of the people behind him, and Joe's like, no, this is my time to shine.
Well, yes. that's where Joe's cool. He's like, focusing on the lineman behind me and making me blurry. Okay?
Yeah.
That's where he's. They don't know who I am except for Ahmed Fareed. Everybody else will know.
Or he's just like, Joe just passed through my shot without noticing.
But look at this hot off the press
and
right
then,
here.
yes, Morgan here walks in today repping Joe Burrow.
I like it, Morgan. I like it.
Big Joe Burrow fan with the sweatshirt from his.
I guess I'm the only one that didn't get a memo to wear a football sweatshirt today.
You've got your black. So
I should have worn the Giants. I should have worn a Daniel Jones.
I know. How could you?
Yep.
You were
seriously.
Exactly. You dropped the ball in this one, Morgan.
Awesome,
well
Morgan.
done. Good job, Morgan.
Awesome. Thank you.
Morgan's debut on the pod. Actually, that's not her debut. Remember, she hit you with cake that one time.
Oh, that's right.
No,
that's right. She tried to.
She did not try to. You thought she was trying to, but Morgan, as I said at the time, would never do that. She would never do that to you. Joe Burrow. I think you look at the Bills, the Chiefs,
right?
But the Bengals, you've said.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think?
You said you think they're the most complete, have the fewest questions.
Yeah. I think and that doesn't always necessarily mean you win, because you could be so elite in one area that you can overcome some of that. Yeah. But their ability to match up with more teams favorably, I think, jumps out to me more than the other two.
Why is that? Can their offenses
score, can play defensive struggle type of game. That's fine. 16-13, they're okay with that. He'll just dink and dunk in, play defense. They can stop the run. On defense, they can really match up against anybody. So even if you're a great passing team, they can go, hey, we're good at that. And if you're a great running team, they can go, well, we can stop that too. So that's where they're different. Mm-hmm. And offensively, they're just you've heard me say it. Yeah, they're explosive, but they're also a ball control passing team. We saw that again yesterday. I mean, what? Who 17 plays, 63-yard drive to start the game?
Right.
That's what I was saying. I was sitting there watching, here goes the ball control pass team. He would just go, you're going to play zone. I'm going to dink it here and dunk it there, and I'll run for 5, and I'll dink it there. And, slowly but surely the team gets frustrated, and all of a sudden it's, Jamar Chase for a 25-yard gain down the sideline because they played man-to-man, and then they go, oh, shit, we can't play man-to-man. Let's go back to the zone. So that's where, they're I think I hold that even across to the, even if they cross over to the NFC, right? I think they match up in totality better with certain teams. But that doesn't mean necessarily that I think their offense as dangerous as the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Or maybe they don't even have some of the guys who can make plays in big moments like the Kansas City Chiefs. But I just think overall schematics team, I don't ever look at a spot and go, ooh, that worries me against this team this week. Right? Well, you hear me against Baltimore every week. Baltimore, they're big, they're physical, they're going to run on it. I don't worry about that with Cincinnati. They can play that game. And that's what they did yesterday. It's a weird game, Ahmed, yesterday. Weird. Because they jumped out. Then you're going to play them the next week. Yeah. Baltimore wants to fight to get back into the game because they want to go, wait, we were third-string quarterback and we made it a game. So if we have Lamar next week, we can go in there and beat them, right? And then Cincinnati's also like, we took the lead and we want to save ourselves for next week. So there's a lot of things there. It's hard to gauge the game emotionally a little bit. But I do give Baltimore credit for hanging in there and continuing to fight. I mean, that's what they do. But I just wonder, what I'm interested to see when I watch the film is just like, did And Cincinnati go all in? Did they get conservative in the second half and just go, let's go to the basic plays of the playbook. Let's not show them too much.
Yeah.
Those are things I need to figure out and watch it back.
They really didn't do anything offensively after, they had another field goal drive, but after their field goal touchdown.
That's what I want to see. Right. I know. Was it take the foot off the gas pedal, or was it Baltimore doing some things and going, oh, no, we've caught on here and we can slow you down? Yeah,
Baltimore did beat Cincinnati earlier this year when they had Lamar.
Yep.
That was week 5. That was a long time ago. So they're going to play on NBC coming up this weekend in the playoffs. Now, Daniel Kunimoto says, do you think Lamar Jackson will be back, and how much of a chance do the Ravens have without him against the Bengals? So Anthony Brown played in this game.
Yeah.
The undrafted 24-year-old rookie out of Oregon. Had a couple interceptions, a fumble. I mean, you just don't expect. I mean, if he has to play again.
No, I think we'll see Tyler Huntley.
You do think we'll see
Lamar can't come play?
So what do you think? I mean, like Lamar, we don't know. We don't know. It's like we haven't heard he's close, he's this, he's that. It almost, I don't know, it's something weird seems to be going on there.
Yeah.
And we all know the contract stuff.
Well, I think that plays into it, right? If you're not paid and whatever else and you're 85%, are you really going to go all in and go, yeah, I'll go out, guys. I'll go play. And I think there's part of that. And I don't necessarily want to blame the Ravens in that discussion too. I think that goes both ways there. From everything I know around the NFL, those conversations have been hard. It's been hard to figure out some of the details to get the contract thing going the right way. And then, yes, what I've been told, I told you off air a little bit, last week, the knee wasn't good. It was still very swollen. So I don't know what to expect. And I get the sense that the Ravens don't really know what to expect because, yeah, he is injured. Yeah, he is Superman. And, yeah, there is the contract situation. So I think they're trying to be nice to him without being insensitive and pushing him along. Mm-hmm. And it is a very weird situation. But, hey, can they, with like Tyler Huntley go in there and upset the Cincinnati Bengals? Yeah, they can. I think it's going to be one of those things, Ahmed, where they're going to have to force something to happen. Like, if the game's clean on both sides, they're not going to win the game. But if Marlon Humphrey can get a pick six, or they can get a strip sack down on the 5-yard line and recover the ball and stuff like that, then okay, we could be in this could be an upset type of football game.
Right.
They're going to know how to play them, right? That's what's scary about these wild card division matchups. Some of the bread and butter things, some of the things you like to do as curveballs. The team knows that. They're like, if it's not a curve to us, we play you twice a year. So we're ready for it. And that's where it can be scary. But, as far as the rest of that question, can they make a serious run in the AFC playoffs without Lamar Jackson? I don't think so. No, they need something else to help that offense. It can't just be overpowering run game to get to the Super Bowl.
It's not like they have that elite defense that can keep them into games.
It's a good defense, and they play it the right way. And like you saw yesterday, I mean, they can stop the run. We know that. They're good in pass coverage. But yeah, they're not the Ravens of the past where you can go, oh, well, if the game's 13-all, the Ravens are going to win it. They're going to run, and their defense is going to be unstoppable. It's not quite that dominant, to your point.
It's very similar to the discussion around the Miami Dolphins, who are also a playoff team, but also have questions at quarterback. They were able to defeat the Jets 11-6, final score of that one. Game-winning field goal late by Sanders. What was it, 50 yards, I think, out. Ugly offensive game, but Skylar Thompson got the start because no Tua, no Teddy Bridgewater, and their status is uncertain for the playoff game this Sunday at Buffalo.
Right.
Same question with them. From what we've seen, without Tua or Teddy, even with them.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the chances going to Buffalo?
Well, I think they match up pretty well with Buffalo.
We saw it before, right?
We saw it a few weeks ago.
In cold weather.
I mean, I think you and me came away from that game going, I don't know if Miami wasn't better. It's just Josh Allen made some crazy plays that day, that night. The last drive of the game, some of the throws and plays he made there. Yeah, I don't think they're not going to do it with Skylar Thompson. They're not. That's not going to get it done. Obviously, they need Tua or Teddy. Tua would be the best option. The thing that's crazy to me about Miami is just that, and I don't know, maybe we haven't got to see Teddy play enough yet to even know if this is real, but where the RPO game, it's like the other quarterbacks can't do it. And that's where I'm just where is that element of the offense, with Skylar Thompson and company? Because that's the thing that I feel like misses more than anything when Tua is not in the football game. And, Teddy, every time he kind of gets going in the game, he gets hurt, so I haven't been able to really see that aspect. But encouraging thing for the Dolphins are we've seen the run game be pretty consistent. That's something we talked about on the Wednesday podcast, right, looking at this matchup a little bit.
Yep.
I said that. I was like, Miami could have ran the ball more in the first matchup. Their athleticism on the O-line actually can kind of handle the fast athleticism of the Jets' offensive line. They did a good job there. But they're not a team that's going to win games with smash-mouth football. They need the Tyreek Hill, Waddle, make some explosive plays. Now we're in front of you. We're putting pressure, and now our defense can be crazy, right? That's the way they want to play. They're not like, let's play a 9-6 slugfest type of football team. So, yes, they need Teddy or Tua. In my heart of hearts, I don't think we're going to see Tua. I just doesn't feel like it because I feel like if Tua gets a concussion again, then there's going to be real talks about should he play football ever again, and that's where I think that'll stop, and I expect to see Teddy, I guess.
I mean, credit to the Dolphins, their first playoff appearance since 2016, but, 9-8, this is kind of what they've been the last couple of years.
Right.
And we've given a lot of credit to Mike McDaniel. It seemed like he's unlocked some things in that offense, but also made easier with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, more accustomed to the NFL style of play too. So, yes, they are an exciting team, explosive team. I don't know how much better they really are than they have been the last couple of years. Right? What do you think? Like defensively, I don't know that they're
No, I don't know if it is
better.
either. I don't know if it is either. You're right. I think, it's been a hair too aggressive at times. Like you say, how could they not miss Brian Flores and some of his ideas on the defensive side of the ball? Offensively, they are more dangerous. They are, but yeah, they need Tua, and it is more. They're a team that's more reliant on those two receivers than we've seen in the years past. The years past, they played a little bit more of, hey, we'll run the ball, we'll play this balanced style of offense, and our defense will make a few plays to give us short fields, and we'll do that. Now they're kind of like, hey, we want to get out in front of you and put the pressure on you that way to now where you have to drop back and we could play these crazy coverages and blitzes and do that and then sway the game in our favor. It's a different style. I don't know if it's necessarily that much better. I think it's more dangerous, and it is better with Tua. I think I got to say that for sure. But it's going to be interesting to see what they do up in Buffalo, and sounds like it's going to be a cold game again too. So we'll see how the Dolphins react to that.
And the Jets end their season on a 6-game losing streak. What was the bigger press conference lie from the Jets this year? That Zach Wilson doesn't believe that the offense let down the defense that one time, or Robert Saleh saying that we will see the Bills in the postseason one more time?
Yeah, seriously.
That turned out to be a lie
flat,
too.
Right? Yeah, I know. It's we hit on this a little last week, and the Jets, I think it's all positive, really. At the end of the day, I know it stinks
all
the way.
Positive?
Well, I think there's so many things to like about their football team and the talent. A little bit like we talked about with your Lions, where you just go, you look at them, and I look at them, and I go, well, I don't know where there's maybe we can add another pass rusher. I don't know.
It's a playoff defense.
It's a playoff
but
defense.
How far away is that offense?
Well, I think it's the quarterback and the offensive scheme that are the question there. That's the thing. The offensive line healthy, I think, is good. That's people got to remember. It got very beat up and a lot of injuries. I think the receivers, we can look at that and go, that's a pretty damn good group. The running backs with Breece Hall is pretty damn good as well.
Who I still think finished the season as their leading rusher.
Yeah, well, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. And so the quarterback situation's got to get figured out. I don't know. I don't know where it goes with Zach Wilson. They're being steadfast, and they're going to bring him back and try to make it work. I do believe them in that. But do I also think that means he's just going to have the red carpet rolled out? No way. I think they're going to bring in some sort of veteran type of presence there to compete with them or make them earn it, or at least have the insurance policy of having that guy if Zach Wilson does start and then he falls apart. Yeah. But I don't like still to that point. We made it all about one guy, and there was more than one guy issue with this football team, and that's where I think they made a huge mistake with their organization and the 2022 season. It became a distraction, and they fell apart ever since then. And that's where I disagreed with the Jets' approach.
I think you make a good point. Yeah. It was funny. It was kind of related. Jim Harbaugh's name's floating around there again on maybe being a possible coach. And I was like, one of the things that he does well is, man, he has a lot of gravity. And a lot of the praise will go towards Jim Harbaugh, but a lot of the criticism, too. It's just like the spot. He really takes that spotlight.
He does. You're right.
And takes it off the players.
Doesn't make it about one guy.
He does not make it about one guy. No. And I think there are a lot of coaches out there that maybe would have taken the spotlight a little bit more. Not that Robert Saleh didn't try or whatever, but it does seem like Yes, they allowed it to become about a second-year quarterback.
Yeah, that's right. And then you can't do that. I don't know if I've said it here or not, but I mean, man, if we just gave up on quarterbacks in a year or two, man, there'd be some first ballot Hall of Famers we'd never get to see.
Yeah.
You do take your lumps. And I can go through a number of great quarterbacks that go, year 2 was not that great, but they just managed it and got better and then, they got in the playoffs. And then year 3, that guy had the confidence to go, hey, wait, it's been 2 years in football. Last year we went to the playoffs. And, yeah, you can put more on my plate. And then they grow. And all of a sudden they become Ben Roethlisberger, right? Who they got in a Super Bowl in year 2. And they were like, we can't even throw with this guy. It's the worst performance ever in the history of the Super Bowl by a quarterback. Don't worry, we'll win another way. And, not saying that everybody's that. But, again, they're just Terry Bradshaw, Troy Aikman, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, you go through the list. Phil Simms, never would hear about him if we gave up after year 2.
One other team that will give us plenty of things to talk about in the
right.
offseason here. And now it is time for the final week in the regular season to fire up Damn Okay.
Damn. I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay.
Yeah, no, yes.
I'm okay.
The legal gambleizing.
Oh, baby. I am Chris Simms. I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
And we'll start our Damn Okay with who will most likely be the MVP of the NFL when it's all said and done this season. Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs beat the Raiders. Just basically, it seemed like a couple teams that were just going through the motions, right? And the Chiefs going through the motions are a whole lot better than the Raiders going through the motions. 31-13 was the final score. Mahomes needed 430 yards to break the all-time passing yardage record. He didn't need that. He got 202. Ends with 5,250, though. 45 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Is he the MVP? Is he the
100%.
guy?
100%. I don't think it's even debatable. I think, again, it's he played the best football out of any quarterback in football this year. Him and Josh Allen made the most magical plays of the year, right? And then I think when you add on that, he's really not good without Tyreek Hill. He's not good. He's just not a very good quarterback without Tyreek Hill. Yeah, okay. All right, damn okay, MVP Patrick Mahomes.
And the Chiefs were able to win that game. So that means if they do play the Buffalo Bills in the AFC Championship game, it'll be like a mini Super Bowl.
What do you feel about that? You like that?
No.
I don't
it would have been
either.
great to have the streaming fans. But, it could be also so unique that it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience as well, depending on where they play and how the fans show up. And if you've got half the stadium that's Chiefs and half that's Bills. I can see a scenario where it's like super memorable.
I know.
But no, it would have been fun to see it in Buffalo.
Yeah.
With those fans. They deserve it.
Yeah, I hear you. Anywhere. I do love that home field aspect of a championship football game that we could miss here in the AFC. We'll see how it all unfolds. But I think either way, Kansas City, that was about as good a game as they've played on both sides of the ball.
Yes.
Right?
They pressured the quarterback on 45% of dropbacks, the highest rate in a game for the Chiefs in the past 3 seasons. So.
It was all over Stidham. Offense was a machine, kind of did whatever it wanted. And I think it's very interesting. Again, like I said, you saw it Saturday night. There's Mahomes underneath center. They're playing smash mouth football. They're going to be more dangerous. I think it makes them, like we talked about the Bengals, the ability to match up with different teams and play a little different style. And even if we have an injury, okay, we can go this way, whatever. So I love that aspect. But I thought, that was a pretty dominant effort, and I did not expect that. I did not. The way the Raiders offense has been playing, Josh Jacobs, the way he's run, those 3 being healthy at receiver, as far as Renfro, Adams, and Waller, I just didn't know if Kansas City could slow that group down. But one thing you can say about Kansas City, I love this run game. Mahomes magical. They went through some games where it seems like they took their foot off the gas pedal or got bored. But I don't know. That's Kansas City. When you're on the top of the mountain for 5 years in a row, you're going to get bored. As it stands right now, I'm still picking Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. Even though I said Cincinnati's got less issues. That guy at quarterback, and then the one thing that just jumps out about it to me with them, and you tell me it, they love big moments. I just think they love it. Oh, we got to win this game? We got to get after the quarterback to win this game? Okay, let's do it. Yeah. And they just go crazy. And then they have some guys that can go outside the realm of scheme and everything else to just go, nah, I'm going to ruin this play. I'm Chris Jones. I'm Frank Clark. Screw this double team. And that's where they're dangerous.
Yeah, there's so many things. The running game for the Chiefs, stopping Josh Jacobs. What did he finish with? 17 carries, 45 yards. Haven't seen that basically all season long.
That just shows you when they're motivated. It's hard to get a feel for them. We've seen them do these type of things, but then they have like 4 or 5 weeks where they're kind of like, oh, yeah, hey, we're the Chiefs. We'll win even with their hand tied behind our back. And it's underwhelming, but that was one to remind us, like, watch out. Here we go.
Your gut feeling, who's the quarterback next year for the Raiders as we sit here right now? Not knowing who's going to be available, but gut feeling just right now. Gauge your temperature on January 9th, 2023.
My gut feeling is it's going to be whoever's not the quarterback of the Rams.
Oh, okay.
Right. I still think there's a chance. If McVay's there with Stafford's contract, I think there's a chance they could go, we'll go with Baker. And we'll do that. Stafford, you're getting up there in age. The money's too much for us. We want to kind of rebuild the team.
Interesting.
I could see either way. Stafford certainly would fit that offense. He's tough. He plays in the pocket. We know he's smart. He makes big throws. And I do think Josh McDaniels had a real affection for Baker Mayfield in the draft. So if you gave me two that I just had to pick, I'm going to say, those two.
It's funny. That's going to dominate the conversation, but just as important for them is shoring up that defense that was not very good for most of the year.
The guys that need to fit their scheme and the way they play, too, as we talked about. So that'll be key. And, they're not a finished product. And, I think another offseason, they got a lot of the staples to be a dangerous team. Like you said, it's just kind of the meat and potatoes aspect of the roster that needs to get fixed up a little bit.
You know who's a dangerous team that's also a playoff team?
Yeah.
A team that you saw from week 1 of the preseason, and you go, they're real.
Yeah.
They got some guys. You go, I don't know that I'm going to pick them to make the playoffs, but they're good. And that was the Jacksonville Jaguars. So if you've been listening to this podcast from the moment the preseason started, you heard Chris. You knew how much he thought that the Jaguars were for real. And lo and behold, they did make the playoffs by beating the Titans on Saturday, 2016. Didn't look like they were going to pull out the victory, though. They needed their defense. And then right at the end, you know what I was thinking?
Gosh, can you believe that?
You know what I was thinking?
What?
It was Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Picking up that ball.
Right.
You're my boy, Teal. Take it the other way. Touchdown.
The other Josh Allen.
The other Josh Allen for the Jaguars. Their defense made a play. Where their offense made some plays, but also missed some big plays out there.
Definitely.
Trevor Lawrence. That's kind of a sign of a good team, right? Figure it out.
Finding a way to win, right? It is. And I think really the first thing I want to do is give Tennessee credit, right? I mean, come on. A guy wasn't on the quarterback on their team 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Here they are fighting for a game and really outplayed Jacksonville. I was a little disappointed to see the strip sack fumble because I was like, I want to see Trevor Lawrence and them have to drive down on this defense who's played well and try to tie the game. But nonetheless, I think in totality, the Jaguars have more playmakers. They're believing right now. But man, that was a great game plan. That's where I thought the game would be close. Vrabel has that Mike Tomlin Steelers thing where it's just like he's going to game plan it and make the game ugly, and they'll do some things on the defensive side of the ball that Jacksonville won't be ready for. And all of a sudden we're going to be sitting there going, what? They're up 16-10 in the third? How is this going on? And it just was a master class on having to manage a game and play it that way.
Yeah.
But I think, lack of a passing game, lack of a quarterback to make a big play in a moment or a big throw, that's what came back to bite them in the butt. And Jacksonville, like you're saying, they got guys kind of like we talked about with Kansas City, who I think are just like they can go outside the realm of the playbook and go, no, I can do this myself. And we saw that a little towards the end of the game.
Yeah, Tennessee ends the season on a 7-game losing streak. For Jacksonville, it's their second playoff berth in the last 15 seasons. In 2017, they did reach the AFC Championship game.
They did.
5-game winning streak rolling into the postseason. Meta World Crazy writes you and says you talked pretty glowingly of the Jaguars at the Hall of Fame game back in August, so he remembers. Now 5 months later, they're back on NBC for a home wildcard game. Your thoughts on their overall season and long-term outlook?
Oh, my gosh.
Team on the rise?
Definitely. To me, it has all the feel of Jacksonville's going to be in the playoff conversation for the next 6 to 8 years, right? That's where I feel like it's going. It just has that feel. Again, I don't know, but they have a huge, overpowering offensive line. They got a stud at running back. Their quarterback has officially hit the upper stratosphere of football. Receivers are good. Tight ends are good. It's a little bit like, defense, man, secondary, got some young players there. Linebackers are good. Edge rushers are good. It's like D-tackle, spend big money on D tackles this offseason, and then you go, watch out for Jacksonville. But yeah, I think we're in it for the long haul here with Trevor Lawrence, Doug Peterson, the Jaguars, where they're going to be a force in the AFC.
I'm willing to say this.
Yeah.
Next year, I think that they will be one of the more overwhelming divisional favorites.
I don't doubt that,
because I don't think Tennessee is going to necessarily get a ton of love because they get questions on offense, quarterback, who's the guy.
Right.
Even
they're
if it is
sexy,
they're not. Yeah. Indianapolis, obviously, a long way to go, and Houston, obviously, a long way to go. I think Jacksonville is going to be one of the higher, favorites.
I don't disagree with that. It's just it's crazy. As soon as I stopped picking them to win games, they started winning games. That's where it's unbelievable. But yeah, I think you're right. Next year they're a team that but they're not going to sneak up on anybody next year. Not with that quarterback. And this will be an interesting matchup with them and the Chargers. I'm excited for that. I mean, to me, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert are almost the same guy. So that's where I'm excited. It's our game Saturday night. It's arguably the best quarterback matchup of the wild card weekend. Maybe if Lamar plays, we have Burrow, Lamar, but that should be some good TV on Saturday night.
For a while there, it looked like maybe we would get Kenny Pickett and the Pittsburgh Steelers for the 17th time this year. We've had every one of their games on NBC. Mike Tomlin gets our damn okay because he did it again. Mike Tomlin has finished all 16 seasons with a non-losing record. They actually had a winning record again this year. We almost did the kiss the feet bet again because it was so unlikely that they would make the playoffs, and they didn't make the playoffs, but they did everything but make the playoffs here. What a run to finish the season. Realist Truth 85 says, shout out to you and Ahmed, longtime listener. Can we get Coach Tomlin some love? The man had a roster with tons of holes, still damn near made the playoffs. Some fans aren't happy because we aren't winning playoffs, but I blame former GM Kevin Colbert. So if you're looking for a scapegoat, don't make it our man, Mike Tomlin, make it Kevin Colbert. Yeah, what do you think of the Steelers? They're finished 9-8?
9-8.
Are they the talent-wise, are they a 9-8 team? Close?
Yeah, maybe probably a little worse than that, I think, maybe. I'm probably worse. They're worse than that. I think that's where the coaching, playing the right way, having motivated troops on a weekly basis to go out and be a physical football team. That's the Mike Tomlin magic. Where I really think they're kind of like a 6-11 football team that went 9-8 because of Mike Tomlin. But I think there's some positives. And how can you not be excited about Najee Harris, Pickett, and those receivers with Freiermuth? The offensive line, we know that's got to be adjusted. D-line, they need to do something there. It's they're trying to infuse some younger talent in there, but we're getting to the end with Cam Hayward, and we don't have a front seven in Pittsburgh that we've become accustomed to, that we've grown up with, where you just go, oh, wait, I know everybody on the front seven. They're all good. It doesn't matter where we go. Nose tackle's good, D-ends are good, outside linebackers are good, middle. I mean, that's how we grew up.
Yep.
They're not there right now. They're not. I know they got T.J. Watt. He's special. Alonzo Highsmith looks like he can be legit other guy off the edge. But, yeah, they got to have a few more difference makers there. Secondary's not bad. They're going to need another corner.
Led the NFL in interceptions this year.
I know. They caused some problems, and they're better than people realize. Maybe another corner. They got one of the best safeties in football in Minka. They're not far off. They're not. I could certainly see them being a team that's, right back in the mix next year with a few free agent signings and a draft pick to go, oh, okay. Pittsburgh's one of the 4 or 5 best teams in the AFC. I don't think that'd be a crazy thought.
Kenny Pickett only threw for 45% completion percentage in the game, but made some plays, showed his mobility on Sunday night. Do you think
key thing?
Do you think he and George Pickens can become like a dynamic duo, top 10 quarterback receiver duo in the NFL?
I do. Pickens is special. I think it feels like they have a very natural connection there. I will be interested to see. I think people in Pittsburgh clamor a little bit about the offensive coordinator situation. I'm not going to lie. The offense does not blow me away. So I am interested to see if that becomes kind of a hot button topic there. But I think really, I like what we saw from Kenny Pickett, and those 2 receivers are legit. They're going to cause problems. They got to fix that offensive line to where they can be able to ride Najee Harris legitimately and be like, oh, he can consistently run for 100 yards every week. That's what they're missing on their football team too. But what a year! They're unreal that way. And I will say this about Cleveland: I saw a few plays yesterday where I went, that's Deshaun Watson. I went, man, that was a crazy escape. Or the ball popped out of his hands a few times, and I went, ooh, okay, that looks like the Deshaun I remember. So we'll see what they do there. They did a lot of right things in the football game, and they fought hard too. And really, Pittsburgh just wore them down, really. And the big thing was, the got the interception before the half. Steelers go up 10-7. They get a tough field goal drive to start the third quarter to go 13-7. And a part of the game where I have in my notes here, I go, it feels like Cleveland was playing better, but then now it's 13-7, and Watson throws a bad interception. Steelers get the touchdown a few plays later, and that was kind of night-night, game over.
Joe Woods has been fired.
Joe Woods got fired. I'm not shocked by that.
Defensive coordinator.
You've heard me talk about that a little bit.
It'll be interesting. It'll be next year's a big year for that whole team, the whole coaching staff. It seems like 7-10 this year. There were some reasons for that. Deshaun, assimilate him.
Tough
late
situation.
In the year, but,
you can't blame Kevin Stefanski. This one. There's a lot of things there, and dysfunction, issues, whatever you want to call it, there in Cleveland that I think would be unfair to put on the head coach all the way.
The Broncos put a lot on their head coach. They fired him before the end of his first season, but they finished the year on a upswing against a Chargers team that had nothing to play for, although you would not have known that by how much their players played. We're going to give the damn okay to Jerry Jeudy in this one, because at the end of the year, it did look like he and Russell Wilson.
Definitely.
And it was kind of funny because, what was it, a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, a lot of the players, including Jerry Jeudy, I think he was almost a leader of it, went to social media to defend Russell Wilson and all the things that have been said about him. So who knows? That's an exciting, if you're looking for positives after a pretty bad year for the Denver Broncos, that might be a positive. What if Russell Wilson and Jerry Jeudy finally figured it out and can get it going early next year?
I think it is a positive. And I think it's more towards the formula what fits Russell Wilson was what we saw here the last few weeks. That's what I like. This goes back a little bit more to Seattle, in my opinion, what we saw yesterday. And again, I didn't lock in on this game, but I saw enough. It's to me, that stat line is more fitting of Russell Wilson, the 13-24. I mean, hey, that's a few too many incompletions. I get that. But I don't look at him as a 45, 42 throws a game kind of guy. He's not Mahomes or Josh Allen. He's just not as gifted of a thrower. He's not quite as good decision maker as those guys either. To me, his game and what we saw in Seattle was a little bit, hey, run the ball, run the ball. Oh, wait, play action. Give me some space to see down the field. I'm a great 25 and 30-yard, thrower of the football that way. Yeah. And I feel like that's what we saw. I saw Jeudy going across on deep crosses and big in cuts. And, I feel like if they stay within that style, gives Russell a little confidence going into the offseason. We'll see what they do at the head coaching position, making the right hire there. But, yeah, they're definitely a team where you feel like, if they got a coach to kind of just write things up in there where you'd go next year, you'd go, hey, we're in November and Denver's in the thick of things here, and they're definitely in the playoff race. Would you be shocked by that?
No.
I wouldn't.
No.
I think when you look at their whole team.
And they could be a trendy pick next year,
Definitely. They were a trendy pick this year.
Yeah, I know. Depending on who they hire as their head coach, which will be an interesting story to track in the offseason.
Well, that's where the Harbaugh thing comes in, to your point.
Harbaugh.
What'd you say? You said it before, right?
Yeah,
He doesn't make it about one guy. I think it'd be perfect for Russell Wilson.
I think so.
Yeah. Right? We're going to run the ball. We'll be tough. We'll take a few shots down the field. You're good at that, and we'll play that way. We're not going to make it all about you, so everybody shits on you every time you make a bad throw or a bad play.
The weirdness of Russell Wilson's personality would pale in comparison to the weirdness of Jim Harbaugh's personality.
It actually would it might be, the more you think about it, it might be harmony. They're like, how you doing? Great, with a capital G. And then he'd be like, how are you, Russ? Let's fly. Let's ride. I mean, it would be like all one innuendo bullshit saying after another. You'd be like, oh, look at these guys. They're two peas in a pod. They don't really talk. They just say phrases to each other.
Yeah, it's 100% accurate. I had never thought of it that way before, but they are. Yes, we need to have that marriage now, it seems like. Plug and Play 16 mentioned Jerry Jeudy saying 193 yards from scrimmage, 154 receiving, and 39 rushing for him. He has become Denver's best
good for him.
Player on offense. Keep it up, fellas. He's saying that to us as well here. What'd you make about Brandon Staley playing everyone for a long time? So they had the 5th seed locked in. Nothing they could win or lose. They were the 5th seed in the playoffs. Mike Williams played, goes out with a back injury. We did see Joey Bosa left the game early. I don't know what his status is, but it seems like Mike Williams, for sure, there's some issues that could linger into the playoff game.
I know. I heard the post-game press conference where they thought he was going to be okay.
He didn't look okay.
It didn't look okay. You're right. Well, it's always scary when they get on the cart.
Yeah.
to go into the locker room.
Well, and then did you see the shot of him in the tunnel getting off the cart?
He could barely get up.
Barely walk, yeah.
Right. It took a good shot on like a wide receiver screen right there in the lower back. And, I hope it didn't go out on him. I hope it's just a bruise, you know? That'd be the kind of thing you go, okay, yeah, it's going to be painful, but you'll be okay.
Yeah.
I hope it wasn't something where like it knocked a disc out or, messed up alignment. Then that could be an issue.
So what do you think of the strategy? Because there's the rust versus rest, right?
Yeah,
you want your guys to come in
exactly
rusty. That'd be bad.
It's the $1 million thing. And I think that's where, we don't ever question it until somebody gets hurt.
Yes.
Right? And that's the other thing, too. We like it both ways.
Not totally true, but I think there are some people that are like, why are they even playing in this game?
Yeah, but I think you're saying it the right way. This is a team that's, they haven't dominated anybody here down the stretch. They're just getting healthy and have kind of just gotten everybody going and just started to get the mojo going. Mm-hmm. I think they were trying to ride that a little bit and go, let's continue to build this momentum as we go into playoffs instead of like, hey, whoa, we had a little momentum, but we're going to take a week off. And then, hey, I want you on the biggest game of the year to restart it all again. And again, I think that's where teams struggle with that a little bit. And there is a fine line there about, hey, we just got things going. I don't want to take our foot off the gas pedal and lose that mojo. Hey, we got some guys here who are not really in four-quarter NFL football playoff type shape yet. So I'd like them to play a little bit more and do that. I think there's all those things that go into this. And I would imagine that's where Brandon Staley's head was at. Hey, Derwin James hasn't played in a few weeks. I want him to play. Mike Williams has been in and out of the lineup, right? Keenan Allen, same thing. Joey Bosa, I need him next week against Trevor Lawrence to rush him 65 times, legit. So he needs to be in shape to do that. And I feel like that's probably what their thought process is. I don't know that, but I just know that's the process people go through in the past when I've talked to them.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times, I understand we criticize whatever else, but we also have gone back and we've had years where, well, they played all their guys that last week, and look at them. These first two rounds, they've hit the ground running. Good thing they kept playing on that Week 17 matchup that had nothing to play for, right? So that's where I don't want to always be Johnny second guesser, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. The 49ers, they could have took their guys out earlier in the game. They knew where they were going to be at, right? I don't know. They kept playing them because they just go, wait, we're going to continue to play and get better as a football team and be 4 quarters tough and, fix some of the issues there. And that's where it's a tough conversation.
Over in the NFC, it was a similar story for the Giants. Basically, they had it all wrapped up, and Brian Daboll actually did choose to start Davis Webb and give Daniel Jones the day off. And so if they come out and they're sluggish in their playoff game, I'm going to say that. I'm going to use that. I'm like, what are they doing? They should have played them a little bit.
It's a different scenario. I think again, everybody's got its own scenario a little bit here. One, I think, too, like, they've been healthy and had their guys. Mm-hmm. They know the way they're going to play, right? I think there's a little bit of that. And I also think there's a little bit of, like, gamesmanship with the Eagles involved in that, too. I think I said this to you last week. I know I said it to Florio. But where I would have been hesitant about playing my starters yesterday if I was the Giants was, wait, we play them, wait, we get dominated, even though we might have not been totally motivated. Mm-hmm. And now we got to play in the divisional round, and everybody's going to go, wait, we got dominated by them 2 weeks ago. We got dominated a few weeks before that, 48-21. We don't really have a chance to beat this team. So to me, that's where that also plays. And you got to play within the psychology of this too, where I think Daboll can do that as well. And go, hey, look, our backups played pretty good, guys.
Lost by 6.
That's right. We can go in there with our stars. We play the right way. He can sell it to his team now. It's a little different scenario, I think, than the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the Eagles. Their offense is going to struggle with Gardner Minshew in there at quarterback, and so that's Jalen Hurts to come back.
There you go.
I don't know if he was how he's feeling. I don't think he's 100%.
Right.
I didn't see a whole lot of this game. Careful, threw the ball 35 times though. Yeah. 229 yards, and so didn't run. He did run nine carries.
He was
13
careful
yards.
running the ball though. Like when he got hit, you could tell he protected his shoulder.
Yeah.
There's a few times when people wrapped him up, and you can tell he was just like, I'm going to go down. I'm not going to let them like drive me into the ground and hurt my shoulder more.
Well, on this pod, and we had fun with it, right? Over the last couple of weeks about Gardner and Jalen Hurts and the key piece to this offense. But really, in this whole time, because Lane Johnson did not play again, right?
Right.
I mean, like that's almost as significant, right? You're losing what Nick Sirianni calls the best tackle in football.
He's the best right tackle. Yeah, it is. That's a huge deal. Again, that's a game where I want to go back and watch too.
Because the Eagles they had something to play for here. They had to win to get that 1 seed,
right?
Lock it up.
They did. It's still also one of those things that's kind of like, hey, you go up 19-0. Oh, it's their backups. And I don't know what kind of – I would like to – that's where I'm excited to see the film to just go, wait, did they play conservatively?
Yeah.
Was it a full-fledged just onslaught, hey, we're going to throw everything at you? Or do we just think we can use our, bland part of our offense to beat you? Well, those are things I need to look at a little bit there. But I think either way, it's a positive they got out there and played, that he got completions, got going again. You didn't want to take that break now that they have another week off here. So he got that underneath his belt. He could feel better about himself, his health, all of that. And, yeah, I think it's, again, don't read too much in the score, I guess is what I'm saying. It's hard to figure out these kind of games, the emotions and everything else that goes into it.
So Jalen Hurts finishes the regular season 14-1 as the starting quarterback. And as you mentioned, as we talked about before, New York did not dress Saquon, Dexter Lawrence, Leonard Williams, Julian Love, didn't play Daniel Jones, Kayvon Thibodeau, or Xavier McKinney. If they meet again, those guys will suit up against the Eagles.
And they've been playing. So they're in four-quarter shape like we talked about with the Chargers and all of that.
It's like they had their bye week. It's like they earned the bye.
They did. They were just in a little different spot. And they certainly can go up to Minnesota and beat them. We know that, so that'll be interesting. And, hey, Philadelphia, we know they're one of the best teams in football. It is odd, though. We go into the playoffs, and what? Like, I don't feel like they're the best team in the NFC right now. Do you? Do you?
49ers are looking
that's
pretty good.
You tell me if you're wrong, but do you feel like the 49ers are the best team in the NFC right now?
I think right now.
You do, right? Yeah, that's the way I feel as well. Now, again, it's hard, too, when the Eagles have been kind of dominating, slaying the rest of football to where, they got to a point in the year they were like, well, we're in it. We're kind of going to be the top seed, and you do lose a little motivation there. But they're still really good, and I expect to see them in the NFC Championship.
There was a time in the beginning of the year middle of the year, where we said I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year we're like the Dallas Cowboys are that team that's playing the best, and maybe even better than the Philadelphia Eagles. Who knows? They could still win the division. They did not do that. We're not saying that now. Their final game, nothing to play for the Washington Commanders. They go out and whoop on the Dallas Cowboys, who were playing their guys, 26-6. The final score. Maybe not a more surprising score to any game than we saw in this one. And this is the game where I said last week, I was like, of all teams that I think could pack it in and like get blown out 40-0, I was like, the Washington Commanders are like my number one draft pick choice there. And they totally did the opposite.
Right.
What in the world happened in this one?
This is where it's scary, right? Where you we looked at just the last game we talked about, and the Eagles were up 19-0. You go, oh yeah, they're dominating, and it's like I don't even know if they were like full on their game and they were still dominating, right? This is like the opposite end of the spectrum. Where again, I know there's some element of, hey, we're in the playoffs, we got the playoffs next week. Hey, wait, we can see that the Giants aren't playing their starters, so they're I'm sure they kind of. The writing was on the wall as far as their ability to win the NFC East and all that. But that's still concerning. Like, what? Like, very concerning. It wasn't just like, hey, we're unmotivated. It's like you said, they got dominated.
Yeah.
In both sides of the football. And, like, dominated to where the 26-6 score doesn't tell the true story. It should have been 36-6. It should have been 40-6. That's where it's crazy. I mean, Dak looked horrible. The offensive line didn't open up any holes in the run game. The defense was overpowered and looked like if it was a quarterback who had played more, he would have had more yards passing the football. So that to me, again, I'm one that usually is like, hey, it's, the end of the year and these teams know they got the playoffs next week and, the whole human element here. This exceeded that to me to where there is some real concern here about the way they looked, the way they have played kind of down the stretch, and it's kind of been all over the place.
Snack Prescott says, will the Cowboys hurt me per usual? Do we at least have a chance to reach the NFC Championship, or is it over? Because yesterday it felt over. What I will say is, who knows? Maybe it's a wake-up call to them.
It could be. They are that kind of team. That's where it's very low, high peaks and low valleys with them. That's what's kind of annoying about them. But man, It's 2 weeks in a row. Like, you saw the Tennessee game on Thursday night a few weeks ago. I know they won. It was a little underwhelming too.
Yeah.
You know, the Eagles and Gardner Minshew, the way they moved the ball up and down the field on them the week before that. You know, the Jacksonville game, the way their defense looked that game. You know, so I think that's what's concerning here. You know, the Houston Texans the week before that moved the ball up and down the field. You know, I'm more concerned about their defense than I am their offense. I feel like the offense, I feel like big game, they'll turn it back on. The defense has some matchup issues. Can they get to the NFC Championship game? Yes, they can. But it's going to take some extraordinary play in the divisional round in San Francisco to beat them. Like, I think it's the same thing we talked about before. If it's like a clean game on both sides, they're not going to win. It's going to have to be, Trayvon Diggs got a pick six. Yeah, Michael Parsons got a strip sack on Purdy. It'll take some of that type of stuff for them, I think, to beat, the Eagles or the 49ers in the playoffs.
Pete also notes here that they have a 1-4 record this season on natural grass, 11-1 on turf.
Yeah, this is something Jason Garrett has brought up a few times.
At Tampa. Oh, he has.
He has. He talked about this last night. He thinks they're a different team on grass, which is, I understand what have we said about them all year? They're small and fast, right?
Yeah.
Small and fast usually wants to play on the fast track. They like that. Oh, wait, the ground's cold or hard and there's some slippage and some mud and the game gets a little bit more about size and you can't overwhelm us with the speed. We have seen them have those issues. And Jason Garrett, he kind of hit that on the pregame show a little bit last night. I think it's something that he looks at to be concerned with.
I do remember you talking about that now, because Tony Dungy was like, if I'm Tampa, I'm growing that grass out now. I'm telling them the ground's
and they're the bigger football team to where, it could play into their favor.
Real quick, Sam Howell. Did you see much of him?
Look good. I mean, again, it wasn't too big of a moment. That's what's crazy. He threw an interception in the end zone when they were down. I mean, that's what I mean. The game could have been worse. It really could have. But he looked good. I don't think that's something that you go, oh, well, he beat Dallas. He's our starter next year. We got the quarterback position sewed up. But they're going to be looking in free agency or maybe the draft. But he's a guy that I think has the potential and hangs around. But I think ultimately my thought with Sam Howell is that he's going to be a really good backup quarterback in the NFL.
Brock Purdy could be a pretty good backup quarterback or maybe a starting quarterback. Maybe this is the start of a new era. The 49ers beat the Cardinals 38-13, the Brock Purdy era in San Francisco. 10 in a row, the Giants. The 49ers have won. Their longest winning streak since 1997. I've already said I think Kyle Shanahan's the coach of the year.
Agreed.
What other team is doing this with their third-string quarterback?
No, to me, it's like the two, Daboll and Shanahan, to me, are hands down the two favorites, right? I'll throw Daboll in there just because, what? The Giants in the playoffs? Like, who the thought that was going to happen? Seriously, come on. Like, even halfway through the year when they were, 6-1, I was sitting here going, oh, we can't go to the playoffs, right? So, yes, him or Shanahan, and you said it right. I mean, who does this? Who gets better with a third-string quarterback? What is it crazy? I said this to Tony Dungy last night, and he was like, I think you're right. Where I just went, is it crazy that I feel better about their quarterback situation this year than I did last year or the year they went into the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. The quality of play they're getting. And then, what he's benefited from, too, is when Garoppolo got hurt, as we've hit on this, is the traditional run game really started to get going. And they're dominant right now in the traditional run game. And that just makes it impossible. And now next week you're going to have 100% healthy Debo. And it's just Shanahan's playing with toys right now, it seems like.
And I almost think this is good. We've talked about Trey Lance and how far away he is, and it's concerning. He hasn't played a whole lot of football. If I was a 49ers fan, I think this is all gravy because Brock Purdy clearly can run this offense, and I think Shanahan's put him in awesome spots. But, I think he could do that for Trey Lance as well.
Agreed. Kyle, if certain things on his team are working the right way, he can make just about any quarterback look pretty good, right? I mean, like we've hit on this before. Nick Mullins, through his first 10 starts in football or whatever it was like the greatest 10 starts anybody had ever had in the history of football, right? So that's what's awesome about Shanahan. And as long as he's got a guy that listens to him and just, hey, on this play, read this guy and do what I say, And he's got a guy right now, like kind of like we talked about Mac Jones, who could do more with more.
Yeah.
Give me some answers. I can process it. I'll get us in the right play. I'm not going to wow you with great physical ability, but I can do everything we need to do to be successful that way. And I think that's what they got going. I will say this about them. Their defense and some of the big plays they've been letting up, it's the only thing I worry about with them a little.
Second play of the game.
Right.
David Blau, 77-yard touchdown pass to A.J. Green.
It's been a little too much of that for as good as they are on that side of the ball. That's maybe the only thing I look at them a little bit to where they might have to change it up a little on defense in the playoffs. I feel like we saw a few teams like the Raiders, the Dolphins, the Chiefs that we talked about who kind of go, yeah, this is what you do and you're good at it, but we're good too, and we know how to attack that. So not only do we know how to schematically attack it, but we got players, and that's what would scare me about, like, if they had to play the Chiefs again or the Eagles. I think that their defense needs to throw a few curveballs or different looks at a team as compared to what they do.
Or just have Brock Purdy score 38 points every game,
problem.
which seems super easy. Third rookie quarterback ever to win his first 5 starts, joins Ben Roethlisberger and Mike Kruzek out there, too. I was
funny.
Clearing off my glasses watching the game. I was like, the guy out there, is that Mike Kruzek playing
Kruzek?
quarterback?
But isn't that funny? We just talked about Big Ben.
Yeah.
We just were talking about Big Ben. It's not much different.
Yeah.
He gets better stat lines than Big Ben did because this is a sexier, explosive offense. But, yeah, I mean, Big Ben, they played like we're going to throw the ball like 12 times and play defense and run the ball with the bus and do it that way.
Yeah.
This is a really good football team, and I think, for me, the favorite in the NFC to go to the Super Bowl right now.
Breaking news for the team that lost this game.
Yeah, see ya.
You got to do the noise. Kliff Kingsbury has been fired, and their GM, Steve Keim, is stepping down for health reasons.
Wow.
So a total remake of the front office, and the coaching staff is in order in Arizona.
Yeah, the front office thing's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of rumors swirling about that and Steve Keim and health and some of the stuff there. I'm not shocked about the Kliff Kingsbury thing. I don't think either one of us are. I wasn't sure just because of the contract or how much money was guaranteed. And Bidwell has traditionally not been that guy to, pull the cord out on somebody too quickly. But he's an offensive coach. This was awesome. They've given tons of resources and money to the offense, and it's by far been the biggest disappointment with the football team. That's not good. Oh, wait, and the other side of the ball who doesn't have a ton of money on it, they're the strength of our team, and that guy who's our defensive coordinator is kind of the strength coach of our team as well. So I'm not shocked to see that, and I feel bad for Kliff Kingsbury. I do, but it's a good run, and he'll be a really good college coach somewhere.
Oh, you think he's going back to college?
I think he'll go back to the college. I think college game suits him more. I do.
All right. I'm just letting that sink in. Right.
I do.
Yeah.
I just feel like his offense didn't show great ability to conform to the NFL, game plan specific on a weekly basis. People caught on to it very quickly. Right, he'll get away with that in college. That's fine. And then he's a great personal skills. His recruiting, his ability to relate to guys, he's great that way. I think he's perfect for college football.
Got a great house too with huge windows. He's got a lot going.
He's got a lot going on. He's winning still. He's doing all right.
J.J. Watt winning as well in his final NFL game. 2 sacks in his last NFL game. He's going out. I mean, the team's not on top, but he still can play at a high level.
It's one of those where I go, why? Well, why retire? I mean, again, I don't want to make any decisions for J.J. Watt, and I'm sure his body is like, I can tell you why we want to retire. We're a little beat up here. We've had a lot of issues, but like you said it, he's playing great still. I mean, he's really still very disruptive. Yeah, it's not NFL defense MVP stuff there, but man, he can still add value to a football team and make some plays and be a part of something good. But so be it. It's a legend, first ballot Hall of Famer, definitely one of the greatest defensive players I've seen in my lifetime. He's, to me, like in that special Hall of Fame that we've talked about, that gold-plated jacket that Deion Sanders talked about. Hall of Fame within the Hall of Fame, J.J. Watt's in it.
Yeah, he led the Cardinals with 50 pressures this year, 12.5 sacks. And maybe it is that. Maybe it is I want to end my career healthy.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able to finish.
Right. Got a young
years.
kid.
Yeah, and it's just like I go into the game knowing this is my last game, because if you play another year, you get hurt in a game, you're like, oh, that was my last game. I didn't even know it going into it. It's like kind of cool that he could kind of dictate his own ending here.
I hear that. He goes all in the offseason too, and how he trains and does everything else too, and that wears on you. I can still remember. Listen, I'm no J.J. Watt, but I can still remember my first offseason of not being a football player, kind of going, oh, wait, this is kind of cool. Like, I'm not waking up stressed about, like, I got to work out, I got to throw footballs, I got to eat this today. And, like, it's awesome, don't get me wrong, but that wears on you. And there is a part where you're just like, man, I could just be a human here and not have to be a science experiment on a daily basis.
Can we clip that off where he goes, I'm no J.J. Watt? Because there are times when people are like, who you do that podcast with? That strong like, guy. Is that J.J. Watt up there? No, it's not actually J.J. Watt. It's Chris Sims. We got 4 games left. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to do them in not the lightning round. Pete's written lightning, but then crossed it out. This is the thunder round. You don't have to go that fast, but still we got to move through these because not a whole lot of significance. Although in the draft there was in this first one, the Houston Texans come back, get a 4th and 20 Hail Mary in the end zone touch. It was
hilarious,
entertaining to watch.
It was hilarious. It was like the ball goes right through the defender's hand. You're like, that's right. You're a bad team. That's
they drop from the number 1 pick to the number 2 pick in the NFL draft, and in the process, just a few hours later, they fired Lovie Smith as their head coach. A whole lot happening in this one, and Jeff Saturday fell to 1-7 as the interim head coach.
Yeah,
a lot happening, not a lot of it good in this one.
No, nothing good there. You know, it's 2 teams that, it's going to be some dramatic changes, I think, in the offseason. The
raw deal for Lovie?
Definitely. First off, the first pick doesn't matter. The Bears can have it. They have Justin Fields, so they're not taking a quarterback.
I know, but teams could trade up.
Yeah, right.
And jump ahead of now.
You're right about that.
Houston.
Yep.
Which I think we're different on this. I think that they need to go to a draft lottery in the NFL. I know you say it's like this has worked for years. It's the most popular sport. I mean, it's ridiculous that you have negative incentive to win at the end of the season. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Oh, but they won. And they kept playing.
I know, but everyone's like they're dumb for doing it.
Well,
like,
I know.
But
it's also the people that are saying that's dumb to do it then are going to get to the draft part of the year and go, well, these teams, this is really a crapshoot. They don't know what they're getting in the draft.
Yeah.
It's like a lottery. Yeah. So that's what I don't like about that conversation. It's the same people are going, oh, they're dumb, that are then going to tell me during the draft that, these teams don't really know. It's really a guessing game, right?
Would you be in favor of a draft lottery, though?
Absolutely not. No. I mean, how many examples do we need to know that it's working? Gosh, Cincinnati, worst to the Super Bowl. Jacksonville, worst to the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's working,
You're
Ahmed.
still going to get a high draft pick, but you just don't have necessarily guaranteed shot at the number 1 pick.
Okay, all right. I don't think, again...
And that way you can win this game, and you're just like, well, they had the same chance of getting the number 1 pick. It was just...
Well, that's where, again, tanking in the NFL is different than the other sports.
I agree with that.
That's where it's a little different.
Yeah.
One, Lovie Smith doesn't care because he knows it's going on his gravestone, so he's going to coach the team to win the game, right? 2, the players go, I don't know what team I'm going to be on. I don't know if I'm going to be on this team. I got to play good. So you're not going to get players that are just going to chalk it up, or coaches that are going to chalk it up. So that's where I you can position yourself to not put your best effort forward, but flat out tanking is hard in the NFL, as we saw there yesterday. Lovie Smith did get a raw deal though. I just look, what did we expect there in Houston? What on that team did we look at to go, they should be way better?
And they were in games. What? They took
constantly
the Chiefs to overtime.
Constantly. You need some players to help you win those games. They don't have them. Who's their best defensive lineman?
Ooh, good question.
Right. Who's their best linebacker?
Ooh, good question.
I mean, who's their best receiver?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah, and Brandon Cooks, they got him. But
yeah.
But Nico Collins is there. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Most people won't even know who's on their team.
Who's their best quarterback?
Yeah, right. Exactly. I don't like that. I don't like the way it looks in Houston. David Culley got fired. Looked like they wanted to do something else. The Brian Flores, the black coaches minority thing became an issue. It looked like they used Lovie Smith to just go, oh, wait, there's some issues in the NFL. Let's just put him there. He's a black guy, and we'll make him the scapegoat later. I mean, I don't love the way that looks. I don't. And like I said, I don't know realistically what did everybody expect. I mean, The talent on the team is nothing to write home about. They weren't going to win many more games with – you can give them some of the best coaches in football. It wasn't going to be that big of a difference.
I think that they will have to do what the 49ers did when I was out there, because they had a similar situation after Jim Harbaugh. They had Jim Tomsula, 1 year gone. Then they hired Chip Kelly, 1 year gone. And then they had to give Kyle Shanahan and the GM out there,
John Lynch,
6-year deals.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to have to do. To get anyone who has options – I think their next coach is going to have to get like a guaranteed 5 or more.
I keep thinking there's a master game plan in Houston. Like I said, there's a lot of good, meat and potatoes on the roster. There's no steak and sizzle, right? That's how I always like to say it. I kept thinking like, hey, they're waiting for that, and they have a coach in the horizon that they're waiting for, that they're going to make this master play for and all that. But I don't know. I don't really get what's going on there.
What's going on in Chicago? Well, I'll tell you what's going on. They got the number 1 pick, as you've already mentioned. They lost to the Vikings, though, 29-13. Their top quarterback did not play in this game. Justin Fields has been beat up all season long. So they clinched the number 1 pick. The Vikings do get a win late in the year, but they end the season a 13. Is that what they ended up with? 13 wins? 13-4.
Yeah.
They end the season with a negative 3-point differential, scoring differential. That we will never see that again. I'm willing to make that bet that we will never see a 13-win team with a negative point differential.
It's crazy. Will you kiss my feet if we see it again?
Hey, I will do that.
Okay.
Yes, I will do that, because I'm so confident that this is the one and only time that will ever happen in the history of the NFL.
It's crazy. It is. I still stand by as the worst 13-4 team I've ever seen. Either way, though, it's a great year. They got it done. It's hard to win football games in the NFL. They did it on a consistent basis. I'll give that to them. Yesterday, that was a game where it's hard to be motivated and go all out, especially when Freak Show is not quarterback on the other side. There's nothing to like light an ignition, or a fire underneath you there.
Yeah.
I will say this. Bears, you're not going to like this, but, man, they got a quarterback that does something elite. Mm-hmm. They got the number 1 pick in the draft. And they got a shitload of money to spend in free agency this year. That's where they were smart. They played it smart, and they took their lumps this year. They were paying guys that weren't on the roster, and now they're going to be, I think, a major player and being able to support Justin Fields with some difference makers there. And I think they'll be a totally different team next year.
They had the most rushing yards they have ever had in franchise history this year. They went over 3,000. Justin Fields, of course, a big part of that. Like, you're right. They do some things very well, but the Vikings won the division. But as I sit here right now, to bring it back to my team one more time, I think the Detroit Lions. I think the Detroit Lions right now, at the end of the year, it's of course what you do all year long, and the Lions started out 1-6.
Yeah.
Do you think the Lions are the best team right now in that division?
Ooh.
They beat the Vikings. Just beat the Packers in Lambeau.
I don't think you're crazy for that thought. I feel like, if you matched them all up right now, if you pick Minnesota versus the Lions right now, I'd take the Lions. Yes.
4-team tournament at the end of the year, Lions are winning.
Well, it's cool about football again and the current draft process that we have in the league.
Yeah.
That that division could be highly competitive and like really good next year. I don't think Green Bay is going to fall off. I think Minnesota will be good. Like I said, Chicago with that quarterback and a playmaker here and there, and you go, uh-oh.
They were in games.
They're dangerous, right? Yeah. So it could be a fun division in the future.
So the last 13-win team that had close to a 0-point differential, Pete has put it in here, was the 2019 Green Bay Packers, and they were plus 63.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
As
close as we've gotten before to a negative point differential for a 13-win team in the NFL. Congratulations to the Vikings. That's a record that will never be broken.
Green Bay's in there twice.
Green Bay
in 2021, they're also in it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to look at some of these teams in there. 2017 Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans, who went to the Super Bowl in 1999 and lost to the Rams. They had one of the lower scoring outputs ever. But those were teams. That was a team with great defenses.
Yeah.
Some of those Packers teams, what I want to say is this is, to me, where, again, we said negatives about Aaron Rodgers to start the show. Like, some of those teams, they weren't that good. They weren't as good as people think. It was just the magic man was at quarterback, and they were pulling out games. So, it's a fun thing to look back at and check out.
Falcons and Buccaneers. Buccaneers are going to the playoffs. Tom Brady played first quarter, a little bit of the second quarter, and then came out. Falcons won this game 30-17. Brady did break his own NFL single-season record for completions, 490.
Yeah.
I know he was wanting that. That's why he played one more year.
One more year.
Let me get that. Let me break my own record on completions. I don't know. Not a whole lot to discuss about this one. I guess a positive finish for the Falcons, who, had some rookies. I think maybe this was Desmond Ritter's best game. Tyler Algier was awesome.
He got something there, right? I mean, he's a sledgehammer running between the tackles. I mean, what a year.
Kind of speaks to what you're talking about with running backs still. And this is, of course, out there widely. And there's going to be a running back this year out of Texas, right?
He's going to be a first-round pick.
And then they got Tyler Algier in the 5th round out of BYU, and he goes over 1,000 yards.
I know. There's so many good ones right now in college football that it's hard to justify taking one early on in the draft. But, hey, the Falcons, I got a lot of respect for them. 7-10. I don't think they really were a 7-10 team. I think that was a team that outcoached their talent on their football team. And I think they're going to have some assets to play with this year to where they can, be a different football team next year. I got a lot of respect for Arthur Smith, what he did there. Tampa, Brady looked good yesterday. Yeah, they got out. They got warm. They moved the ball up and down the field a few times, said, okay, we're good. We're ready for playoff football. Let's rest up in the second half. And they're dangerous. Their defense, I still think, is going to be a pain in the ass here, right? They're creative. They're well coached. They're healthy at least. I don't think the Cowboys are just going to be able to line up and just smash it on the Buccaneers and run the ball down their throat. And like we saw here, with the Cowboys a little bit, is just that I think people have figured out how they play. And you play too much man and too aggressive against Tom Brady, that could be scary. So even though Dallas's record is much better, they are going into their home field, and Tampa does have a belief still. I think that they think they're better than they actually are.
Yeah. And it all kind of kick-started again with those Mike Evans touchdowns when it looked like the Carolina Panthers were maybe going to win the division. They did not do that, but they bounced back, and they did win their final game in maybe one of the more forgettable games in the NFL this year. 10-7 was the final score. Name one play from this game, Chris.
Devontae Foreman getting in a fight with Marcus Davenport. No.
There you go. That's true. That's the one memorable moment from this game. Not much offense, but the Panthers found a way to win, and Steve Wilkes doesn't sound like he'll be the guy, but maybe players want him to be the guy.
Either way, I hope he stays on the radar for other teams.
Yeah.
He's a guy that deserves another chance to be a head coach. He got a shitty raw deal with the Cardinals, and, I mean, are you kidding me? We all wrote them off to die when Matt ruled. They didn't look. I mean, he changed the way they looked as a football team. It was all coaching.
A quarter away from winning the division.
Exactly right. I mean, really. So a lot of positives there. I would not be mad if they kept him, but he needs to be a guy nonetheless that's in the conversation for other teams looking there. The Panthers, I think, are, there are a lot of positive things about their football team. I wouldn't be shocked to see Jim Harbaugh there when all said and done because, look at it and go, wait, offensive line is actually kind of good. Receivers are good. Wait, running back, okay. We got pretty good group of guys. You can add more to the draft like you're talking about, and there's talent on the defense. So, and I heard even Sean Payton say, right, didn't he say yesterday, I wouldn't cancel out any of the other teams in the NFC South too. I guarantee, because he's looking at that team going, they got some things about them that I like. Mm-hmm. Quarterback situation, they got to figure it out for sure. But Panthers, there is some bright spots to look for in the future. Saints, they got some work to do. They're an aging team. I think they're going to keep Dennis Allen.
Defense was good down the stretch.
Defense was really good down the stretch. I mean, that was, to me, is a disappointing part of their team this year. Why weren't they more dominant early on in that first 10 games of the year? Last 5 games, you're right. They were unbelievable on that side of the ball. But I think there's going to be some changes on that roster in New Orleans when all's said and done.
The quarterback for Carolina, it could be your guy, Matt Corral. Remember, you have never given up on one of your guys quicker than you gave up on Matt Corral.
I didn't love the way it looked.
In the preseason.
I know. I did not like the way it looked, all right? Preseason is supposed to look a little easier, okay?
Yeah.
But I don't know what they'll do at quarterback there, and that's going to be very dependent on the head coach. And, there's some options. You can see. You can win with Sam Darnold. But he made some dumb interceptions yesterday, too, where you go, is he really the future? We'll see. But I do like a lot of things on that Carolina football team.
Pete goes in my ear, more likely to start for their current team in the future, Matt Corral with the Carolina Panthers or Zach Wilson with the New York Jets?
I think if you made me bet there, I'd go with Zach Wilson still.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. Did you think I was going to go Matt Corral?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know. Which reminds me, we will get into the draft again here. I'm curious how you will talk about these quarterbacks
this
year.
A lot of guys to
Four
talk about.
possible first-rounders,
yeah,
right?
I think, and some other guys that are like right on the fringe of that, or you go, ooh, I like some of them too. I think it's going to be a pretty good class altogether.
And you've got to redeem yourself from your evaluation this year.
I do. Yeah, it wasn't my best.
I know. So okay, that's it. We put a
bow. Week 18 in the books.
On the final regular season game.
Playoffs.
BetMGM Wild Card Weekend has begun. We have the lines; they are out. So I think we have them in order of biggest favorite to closest game. The biggest favorite, the Bills, -11 against the Dolphins. 49ers, the second biggest favorite, -10 versus the Seahawks. Closest game's the one on our air. Chargers at Jaguars, just 1.5. The away team there is the favorite. The away team Cowboys are also the favorite at Tampa, just by 3 points.
Wow.
Any of those lines surprise you?
Vikings favored by 3.
Vikings favored by 3.
I can't say that I'm overly surprised by any of them here. Wait, so the Chargers Jaguars, who's favored in that one there?
Chargers.
The Chargers are favorite. Okay.
Yeah, road teams favored. Cowboys and Chargers, the two road teams who are favored.
Yeah, it's a really good, interesting matchup there. I do look at the Chargers-Jaguars game and go, I think this is a game the Jaguars should be able to run on that Chargers football team. You know, the Bengals-Ravens line at 6.5, right? I've had some people who are bettors who always go, the 6.5 thing means Vegas doesn't know who's going to win the game, right? That's 6.5 and 2.5. I was always told by some expert bettors meant Vegas didn't have a feel, right? Because now the touchdown wins it, the 2.5, the field goal wins it, but it's a little bit of the game could go either way, and I'm sure that's probably the Lamar aspect of that as well, right? I think the game that if I had to look at one that I actually like out of these spreads right off the bat, I mean, obviously I think the Giants can go to Minnesota and upset them. I think I'd probably go with the 49ers and ride the points there against the Seattle Seahawks. The 10 points, don't be scared by it.
Easy double-digit victory for the 49ers. I like the Bengals because I don't think there's any chance Lamar's playing.
Yeah.
But who knows? Baltimore can make it ugly. And
I know. That's right. Baltimore.
Keep it close.
That's right. Run the ball, chew up the clock. We'll see where it goes.
The action never stops at BetMGM. You can sign up now using the bonus code SIMS. Your first wager risk-free up to $1,000.
So say you bet $100 on the Dolphins to beat the Bills outright.
Okay.
If you win, you get $400.
Okay.
But if you lose, you still get $100 worth of free bets, Ahmed.
Simply download the BetMGM app today or go to BetMGM.com. Enter the bonus code SIMS to make your first wager risk-free up to $1,000, as we said. And that is it. The regular season is done.
Get out of here.
It's done.
Man. You're going to put some teams
No, we're going to do that Wednesday. Yeah, we're going to do it Wednesday.
Yeah,
put them all together.
Good.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
Wednesday
you got
here.
a lot of writing to do.
There's some poems. I got to go rhyme.com.
Right. You're going to ask some of the homies to help you out again, do some of your homework for you?
They're more than welcome to do that. Whenever they want to take some of the heavy lifting away, we will allow that. Maybe I'll just put it into ChatGPT, the new AI text thing. Just give me a poem on whoever, Detroit Lions.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
GP. What did you just say?
ChatGPT. Yeah, GPT. You type in a question and it will give you an answer.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I did not know.
You've never heard of this?
No, never.
All right, I'll show you after the pod.
No. I'm as clueless as you are. It's like you with movies, okay? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, this is what I'm spending my time doing.
Apparently.
Talking to computers.
Apparently. All right, well, we're going to be spending more time on Wednesday breaking down these playoff matchups.
Yep.
I'm going to go back, watch some film. We'll get to some, nuance of these games, things to look for. Hopefully I steered you in the right direction last week with some of the matchups that we saw. But either way, thanks for listening. Hope everybody's good out there. Enjoy the national championship game tonight.
Yeah.
Who you taking?
I'll go with TCU because it'll make Michigan look better if they can run the table.
Oh, it's all about that. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I'm going to go with Georgia. I think the Big 12 stinks, okay? Expect some tweets out there.
Are you
going to
tweet it? Are you going to tweet before the game?
I don't know. I mean, I still want to. I mean,
go for it.
Well,
Why not? Who
I got
cares?
some low blows from a guy I used to play with at Oklahoma, and Roy Williams, which I just was like, he got personal on me. And I know that was a BS move by him.
Okay.
Right? And listen, this is the first time the Big 12's won a game in the college football playoff era.
Yeah.
It wasn't that crazy of a comment by me. There's 50 people in the NFL from the Big 12. There's 360-something from the SEC.
See, here we go.
There's 250-something from the Big Ten.
There you go.
The Big 12 is not good. Good job, TCU. Way to get here.
Yeah.
Way to make the Big 12 relevant for the first time.
I think we can tweet again.
I think I'm going to get in tonight. I just don't want to get yelled at by my bosses. All right? All right, everybody. Be good. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the national championship game. Ahmed and I will be back on Wednesday. Morgan will be here, too, with a new sweatshirt. Clap it up. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my Unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Sims Unbuttoned. Peace out.